Good morning, everybody. You have your math testing today. So this is quite unusual, but we're doing a math lesson outside of our normal time that we would be together. So we'll have to do that a few times this week because during your math testing times, you are logging in at your normal class time just to take the test. So all of our other assignments are outside of our normal class time. So tomorrow you will have no math lesson, but you will have literacy this way. And then Wednesday and Thursday both will be that way. So today's math lesson is more bar model work, specifically focusing on division. For the last several days, we've been focusing on bar models with multiplication. So today we're switching over to division. I'm going to show you the textbook as we walk through some example problems, and then I will have you write some notes along with me just as we would in class. So get your notebook ready to go and feel free to pause the video now if you need to go grab those supplies. Okay, so here is an example to go through, and then we'll walk through this one together. It says a grower picks 60 oranges. The grower packs them equally into 5 boxes. How many oranges does the grower pack in each box? So in this problem, we know the total amount. We know that the grower picks 60 oranges total. And we know that there are 5 boxes. What we don't know is how many oranges are in each box. This is a perfect way to represent this information. We've got a Parthole Bar Model with equal groups. We know there are 5 units, and we can figure out that each unit is equal to 12 by dividing 60 into 5 groups, which equals 12. That is one that hopefully you have memorized, because if you know 5 times 12 is 60, then you can solve for 60 divided by 5 equals 12. But if you need to write out in long division form a problem like this, feel free to do that. Okay, here is one that's partially done for us. We have, sorry, that looks a little bit blurry. I'm going to. We have a Parthole Bar Model here, once again with the total amount. And what we're looking for is how much each unit is equal to. Whenever you see that, we've got a whole amount, we know the number of groups, we're trying to solve for what each unit is, we know that we need to divide. We're dividing our whole by the number of groups. It says there are 48 crayons. They're packed equally into 4 boxes. How many crayons does each box have? Well, we divide 48 by 4, and it equals what? 12, correct, because 4 times 12 is 48. Now here is one where we will also divide, but the format looks different. In this case, we don't know how many groups there are, but we do know what each group is equal to. Here's our story problem. A tricycle has 3 wheels. In Jerome's shop, the tricycles have 42 wheels in all. How many tricycles does Jerome have? So we know our total. We know what each unit equals. What we do not know is how many groups there are, or how many units. We can divide 42 by 3 to find the total number, though, because with division, it's working with the same number groups as multiplication. Now, 42 divided by 3 is not a problem that you have memorized. Let me get a whiteboard and I'll be back in just a moment. So I'd recommend writing it down as a long division problem. 42 divided by 3. We know that 3 goes into 4 one time. Multiply 1 times 3 to equal 3. We subtract and see we still have 1 10 left and bring down that 2. Now how many 3's go into 12? That's right, 4. So we'll put the 4 up here. When we multiply, we see There is nothing remaining. So the answer is 14. 14 tells us how many groups there are. So 42 divided by 3 equals 14. There are 14 tricycles in Jerome's shop. Okay, now it says here, use bar models to solve one-step division word problems. As you can see here, we're moving from part whole to comparison now. Here's an example of a word problem that we can solve using a comparison model. Sean and Trish scored 36 goals in all. Our total amount is here on the side. We've got 2 people, and we know how much they scored altogether. Now, Sean scored 3 times as many goals as Trish. 1, 2, 3 times as many. How many goals did Trish score? So we know 36 is the total amount. We're trying to solve for Trish. Now, Trish has 1 of the 4 units. There are 4 units total. We're trying to solve for 1 of those units. So we can divide 36 by 4 to equal 9, and that tells us how much just 1 unit equals. So Trish scored 9 goals. Okay, let's try another one of those. It says Ahmed sells 32 video games. He sells 4 times as many video games as Justin. How many video games does Justin sell? So we have a comparison bar model here because we've got 2 people, Ahmed and Justin. We know how much Ahmed sells. We don't know how much Justin sells. Now keep in mind, this can be a little bit tricky, so it's okay if it takes some time before this clicks in. But up here, we had the total amount, so we're dividing by all of the units. I hope this is not messing up your video. Right now, my video is messing up. Just a moment. I'm going to keep moving forward. I can't quite tell if it's working, but notice with this one, we had a total amount for all of them together. We divide by all of the units in that case. In this problem, we've got, I'm sorry, boys and girls, let me undo more time. And I'm going to see if this works better. I don't know if it was happening as you're watching this, but it was splitting the screen for me. Still happening, but okay, it looks like this is centered though. So Ahmed has 32 video games that he sold. Justin has just 1 unit. We know that Ahmed sold 4 times as much as Justin. So we're going to divide 32 by 4. We're dividing by 4 to see how much just 1 unit is. So it's not all the units like this one. We're dividing by 4 to see what 1 unit is. So 32 divided by 4 equals 8. Hopefully that's one that you have memorized at this point, because 4 times 8 is 32. So the answer would be 8 video games for just Justin. Okay, at this time we're going to do some in our notebook. So we've got number 1 here that we'll do. It says Mr. Lee packs 80 pounds of rice into 5-pound bags. How many bags does he use? Okay, let's stop and think about this. Imagine you are Mr. Lee. You're packing 80 pounds of rice. You have 80 pounds of rice total into little bags with 5 pounds. We don't know how many bags yet, but we do know each bag holds 5 pounds. Okay. Oh goodness, I need to fix this. Why is it messing up like this? Okay, just a moment. There we go. Okay. I don't know how I fixed that, but I did. So let's review what that problem was. It says Mr. Lee packs 80 pounds of rice into 5-pound bags. So we've got 80 pounds altogether. 5 pounds is how much is in each bag. Let's start this by writing an answer sentence. And I forgot the header, so I'll put that above. You'll be watching this on February 1st to 1/21. This is math lesson 9.3, which we'll be spending 2 days on. So the answer sentence is, Mr. Lee uses blank bags. Now we know he has 80 pounds of rice altogether. $80 pounds of rice. We know that each bag contains 5 pounds of rice. Now we don't know how many bags there are. And this is the way I'll show the information. It's different in the textbook. I think this is a simpler way to do it though. Okay, so we've got 80 pounds of rice. Each bag needs to have 5 pounds. We're going to divide to figure this out. And since we don't have a fact memorized, 5 times something equals 80, we'll write it out as a long division problem. 5 goes into 8 one time. Let's multiply, see what's left. Still have 3 tens. We're going to bring down that 0. Now, how many times does 5 go into 30? That's right, 6. Exactly 6. 6 times 5 is 30. We have nothing remaining. So 16 is our answer. That tells us how many groups or bags there are. We'll put a 16 in the blank. It takes your time to write this down. If you need to pause the video, feel free to do so. Let's do another one. It says, during a school fair, Daniel sells 87 cups of juice. He sells 3 times as many cups of juice as Rodney. Times as many. Those are keywords that we're going to use a comparison model. Now, how many cups of juice does Rodney sell? Okay, imagine that you are Daniel and you've got a friend named Rodney. Okay, so during a school fair, you sell 87 cups of juice. You sell 3 times as much as your friend Rodney. Who sold more? You did. That's right. You sold 87 cups. And that was 3 times as much as Rodney. Hopefully some of you are already making a mental picture of what kind of bar model that is, what it's going to look like. We're trying to solve for how many cups of juice Rodney sells. So let's make an answer sentence for that first. Rodney sells blank cups of juice is what it is. Now, who are our people again? We've got Daniel and Rodney. I'm just going to put a D and an R for them. D for Daniel, R for Rodney. Now remember, we know how much Daniel sells. Daniel sells 87 cups of juice. So we know what 1 unit equals. And we know Rodney, oh, I'm sorry, I was getting that mixed up. Daniel sells 87 cups of juice. And that is 3 times as much. So we're going to draw 3 units for him because it's 3 times as much. And we also know that 87 is the total. Now Rodney is only going to get 1/3 of it. He only has 1 unit. So we're trying to figure out, of these 3 units, what is just one of them? To do that, we divide 87 by 3. That's going to tell us what 1 unit equals. That is something that we'll have to write out as a long division problem. 3 goes into 8 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6. Subtract, bring down that 7. Now 3 goes into 27. Exactly 9 times. You're not going to have remainders often with these problems. Probably not at all in 3rd grade. 9 times 3 is 27. We don't have anything remaining. So 29 is the answer for how much cups of juice Rodney sells. So let's put our answer there and here. Okay, I think we've got time for one more. Feel free to pause if you need more time for this. As you can see, for some of these, I have to kind of think through it, make some changes at times as I'm thinking, oh, it's 87 altogether. Keep in mind that keywords help a lot with this. For example, the times as many keywords told me that's a comparison model. Number 3, let's move on to this one. The total age of Melvin and Jack is 72 years. Okay, can you picture that so far? We've got 2 people, their ages altogether 72 years. Now Melvin is 3 times as old as Jack. Maybe he's his dad, maybe he's his grandpa. We're trying to figure out, how old is Jack? We're going to add their 2 ages together to equal 72. Melvin, he's the older one. He's 3 times as old as Jack. Trying to figure out how old Jack is. Now, first of all, what is an answer sentence? Jack is blank years old. Yeah. Did you see any keywords to help you figure out if it's a comparison or Parthole Bar Model? 3 times as old. That's about the same as times as many. We're going to use a comparison model. And who are we comparing? Melvin and Jack. That's right. So we're comparing Melvin and Jack. We know their total age, 72. And we know Melvin is 3 times as old as Jack. So this is what it's going to look like. Drop this down a little bit lower. We've got Melvin, I'll go ahead and write the whole name, and Jack. Now Melvin is 3 times as old. Who is going to get the 1 unit? Jack. Jack is the younger one. We don't know how old he is. That's what we're going to try to figure out. Now, Melvin, he is 3 times as old. We actually don't know how old he is either, but we're not trying to figure that part out. And we don't even have to figure that out to figure out Jack's age. We do know that altogether, the two are 72 years old. Whenever you have a comparison model and you know how much it is altogether, we put it on the side like this. We have a bracket on the side. Now I'm trying to figure out 1 unit out of 1, 2, 3, 4 units. I know 72 is for all 4 units together, but I want to know just 1 of the 4 units. So what do? Divide 72 into 4 groups. That's right. We have 4 units altogether, and we're trying to solve for just 1 of the 4. Now 72 divided by 4, that is not a fact we have memorized. Let's solve it as a long division problem. 4 goes into 7 one time. Multiply to see what you have left. Subtract, and we've got 3, bring down that 2. 4 goes into 32 8 times. 4 times 8 is 32, so we're going to have a remainder of 0, nothing to write down. So 18 is the answer for how old Jack is. Now this is not the question, but can you solve for how old Melvin is now? Yes, there are 2 ways to do it. Can you think of what we could do to solve? That's right, we could multiply 18 times 3. We could also subtract 72 minus 18. Either one of those would get you the same answer. So let's try 18 times 3, just for fun. Add this in. 8 times 3 is 24. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2, 5, 54. Let's see if we get the same answer by subtracting 18 from 72. 72 minus 18, let's regroup. 12 minus 8 is 4. 6 minus 1 is 5. Got the same answer both ways to show me that Melvin is 54 years old. Okay, that is your lesson for today. For homework, you've got some pages in your workbook. Let me grab it. Got some real world division problems, and most of these have examples that are partially filled out basically for you. So there's an example here and a bar model filled out. You just need to solve it. 75 marbles that you're dividing. With these, you have word problems and answer sentences, but you need to draw the model and solve it. And over here, we've got some comparison. So it's part whole at first and then comparison. You do have an example to show you what to do. The example in your notes hopefully will help as well. And the first one, you'll just solve it. It already gives you the bar model. So all you need to do is tell how to divide and what the answer is. Now these two, you don't have a bar model or an answer sentence. Let me talk you through these before you go today. So number 5 says Elena takes 80 photos on her vacation. She takes 4 times as many photos as Luke. Can I picture that? There's Elena, takes a bunch of pictures on vacation. It's 4 times as much as Luke. How many photos does Luke take? Times as many tells you it's a comparison model. That's right. We're comparing Elena and Luke. We know Elena is going to have 4 units, and Luke will have just 1 unit. An answer sentence might be something like, Luke takes blank photos. And the last one, Mr. King picked 54 peaches from his orchard. He picked 9 times as many, keywords, as many peaches as Mr. Tang. How many peaches did Mr. Tang pick? So once again, keyword showing us comparison. So do these problems on your own, 169 to 172. And for the rest of the week, basically, until Friday, we'll be doing videos this way. But at the very beginning of class, before you do math testing, you can ask me questions or email me, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible, as far as if you've got questions about how to do these bar models. Okay, I will talk to you all later. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.